With such a heavy emphasis on Valentine's Day being the day of love, it can be easy to lose sight of the fact that we can brighten someone's day with a handmade gift or add sweet touches to our decor all year long. Today, we're going to be making some handmade heart decorations, and we're also going to be making 2 sweet little handmade gifts. I hope you'll join me. This first one is a very simple but beautiful heart wreath made out of pussy willow branches. I found mine at Trader Joe's. You'll want to make sure that your branches have been in water so that they are fresh and they are pliable. You're going to begin by bending a wire coat hanger into a heart shape, and you can trim off the excess hook. Then you're going to attach a handful of the branches to the wreath form using floral wire, and you will want to keep the thicker part of the branches at the base of the heart because that is the less flexible part. And then the branch will naturally be more flexible by the time you get to the top of the heart to curve it around. So then just loosely wrap the wire all the way around until you have one side done, and then repeat on the other side. And you can finish it off with a pretty ribbon, and it was super easy. Last year, I made a heart garland out of some blue and white striped fabric, and when I went to take it down to put up my Christmas decor a few months ago, I thought I will tuck it somewhere really safe so that I can find it. Well, it turns out I tucked it somewhere so safe that not even I can find it, so I decided to make a new one. I took this red and white plaid sheet I found at the thrift store for just a few dollars. I folded a section over, and then using a cookie cutter, I traced around it with pencil. And I cut them all out. And then I hot glued some twine across the inside of the hearts. And then once the twine was glued in, I glued almost the whole heart shut, leaving a little space to put a little bit of the stuffing inside. And then I sealed up the little hole with some more hot glue. And I love how it looks hanging on the top of my English pine hutch. I love making handmade gifts for people whenever I can. The year before last, I had shared a handmade gift video around Christmas time, and many of you seemed to really enjoy that. I wanted to do the same thing this last Christmas, but unfortunately, just with busyness of life and illness and everything, I didn't get a chance to do that. So I thought I would share a few little gift ideas that can be for any time. The first of those is a little pocket warmer. You know, when you're outside and it's cold and you just really want to have something to warm up your hands, this is something you can heat up ahead of time and then just keep in your pocket to warm up your hands. We're going to make ours heart-shaped, but you can really make it any shape you want. You are going to want to make sure that you use fabric that is 100% cotton, and that you fill them with a material that is heat safe. So for this project, we are using 100% cotton fabric and just standard beans to fill them. You could also use corn, not the popping kind. That would be a disaster. Since I'm making these for my children, I picked out fabrics that I thought matched their personalities. And you can buy these little bundles of quilting fabric relatively inexpensively at craft and fabric stores. I did something similar as to when I was making the heart garland. You're just going to fold the fabric over and trace your cookie cutter shape onto the fabric with a pencil. You want to make sure that if it's a patterned fabric that has a right side up, that you orient your cookie cutter on there so that it's going to look right after you cut it out. After you've cut out your heart, you can either skip ahead to the sewing step, or you can do this little extra thing I'm about to do. I decided I wanted to just embroider a little message on there. So I decided to embroider "Love You" on a little scrap of fabric that I attached to the front of each heart. I am not an expert on embroidery whatsoever. I just kind of make it up as I go. So once that was sewn on, I put the right sides of my heart together and just stitched around the outside, leaving a little gap for filling with the beans. Then I filled it with the beans and folded the little edges under and stitched it shut. Really, if you can sew a straight line, you can do this project. I know sometimes people are intimidated by using a sewing machine. You can certainly do this by hand if that's easier for you or if you don't have a sewing machine. But really, it's a very simple project. The time for which you heat these is going to depend on the size of your heart or the type of filling you put inside. So for hearts the size that I made, filled with the beans, I found that about 20 seconds in the microwave was sufficient for heating it nicely but not burning hot. If you don't have a microwave or you choose not to use the microwave, you can warm these in the oven for just a few minutes at 350 degrees. Again, the amount of time will depend on the size of your heart. For our next project, I thought it would be really fun to make a large tic-tac-toe board. Now, I was kind of inspired by Valentine's Day with the X's and the O's, but obviously tic-tac-toe can be for any time of the year. And the beauty of this project is you can make it as big or as small as you like. I started out by finding these wooden letters from Hobby Lobby. So pick out your size of letters. I chose this size, and you're going to base your board off of the size of the letters. I first determined how big my squares were going to have to be. I decided on about 6 inches. You're going to need to leave a little extra room for seam allowance and just a little bit of breathing room for the board. For this project, I decided to use a thrifted shirt and a thrifted pillowcase. So once you've determined the size of your squares, you're going to cut out 9 squares. You can do whatever pattern you like, whatever layout of the fabric you like. Once you have your layout decided, you're going to sew it all together, right sides facing, with simple straight stitches, adding on 1 square at a time. Once you have your whole top layer sewn together, you are going to sew on your backing fabric. Again, just right sides together, sew all the way around the edges, and then turn it right side out. And then you can add your filling. I used just a thin layer of quilt batting for mine. Once you have that inserted, you can sew the opening shut. To help give it more of a quilted appearance and to help hold the batting in place so it doesn't bunch up inside, I just sewed simple knots in the center of each square. And then I decided it needed some sort of carrying case to keep all the pieces together. So I took another piece of thrifted fabric and folded it in half. I then folded up my playing board like it would be inside the bag and used that to measure how large my bag should be. I wanted this to be a drawstring bag. For the drawstring, you can use a lot of different things. You can use ribbon or twine. I decided to use some of the leftover fabric from my playing board. So I cut a long strip of the fabric and doubled it over and just sewed it down the side to make it nice and thick. I then put that strip along the top of the fabric for my bag and folded over the top to create a channel for that ribbon to go through. And I pinned it in place to make sure that I wasn't sewing the ribbon into the bag. I sewed a straight line along the edge of the channel, and then with right sides facing, I sewed the bottom and the side of my bag, using the folded side as one side of my bag that was already completed, and then turned it right side out. And I think it makes the cutest little drawstring bag for this homemade tic-tac-toe board. I'm sure my children and my husband and I will have fun playing this for many years to come. I hope this video inspired you to add some sweet and thoughtful touches both in your home and in the lives of your loved ones. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe and follow along for more cottage living, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.